Hey guys, Buckle here. Welcome back to Buckle Music. Today we're doing another video on the MPK Mini from AKAI. I want to do a video today due to popular demand on actually programming this keyboard to be what you want it to be. So the pads and the controls are what you want it to be for whatever software or whatever program you use. We're going to be using a program called Mixcraft 6 today because that's what I have, but the principles are essentially the same and hopefully that will help you. But let's get started. First things first, we need to download the driver program from the AKAI website. So if you go to the AKAI professional website, so it's www.akaipro.com/MPK Mini, you can see there, I will put a link in the description below. It comes to this page here. There's plenty of everything you need here. We're going to go to the Docs and Downloads tab. You can grab the Quick Start Guide if you like, which is actually extremely helpful. That's this one here. It has overviews of what everything is, how it works, how the software, essentially what it does. It's more of an overview, but it will help as well if you are really serious about using this particular keyboard. But we want to get the preset editor. So I'm using the Windows one. If you're using a Mac, you grab that one. It's a zip file, so we're going to hit that. You'll come in and type in your details. I haven't received any spam from them. I just didn't tick either of these two when I did it. And I got the zip file link, and hopefully you guys won't get any spam as well, but I can't promise anything. I don't work for AKAI, totally not affiliated with them at the moment. Unless, AKAI, you want to send me some money, then that would be fantastic. But for the moment, it's just me. All right, so it's going to send you a zip file which contains these files. I just extracted them within my downloads folder for the time being. It seems to run just fine. First things first, get your keyboard, plug it in, make sure it's running. As you can see, I've got the lights are on, like it's all functioning. One thing I did notice though, I tried to make this video just before I had my DAW, my DAW program open. It wouldn't let me preset this. The DAW program seemed to take control. So make sure nothing else is trying to access the keyboard. And then once it's plugged in, run this program, the minieditor.exe. So let's boot that up. Here we go. Gives you this drop down. We choose your device. I think that's so that if you have multiple MPK products attached, you can actually choose the specific one you want. I'm guessing, don't know for sure, but really quick overview. These here, that's all the pads, all the drum pads, bank 1, bank 2. These are your CC knobs that you can control, and then these are just your programming settings. So the arpeggiators, where you want to transpose the keyboard to, tempo for your arpeggiators, number of tempo taps to trigger it, all that sort of stuff. And also what MIDI channel you're going to use. Because obviously, I think there's 16 different MIDI channels, which is just a standard MIDI protocol, but we're just going to stick with one for the moment. We might make preset 1 in channel 1, preset 2, channel 2, but we'll get to that in a minute. First things first. I've already programmed this keyboard half on a different computer. So if you've got settings saved in your keyboard that you want to work from, the first thing you need to do is click on these buttons here. So get preset from device. So we want to get preset 1. You can see it's already there. So let's hit preset 2. You can see it changes. But what you need to do, grab preset 1. Let's save that. Save preset so that we can keep that. I've got inside of here all files. Drummer Boy. That's my preset file. Let's go save. I think it actually needs an extension, but for the moment I'm not too fussed. Okay, so now that we've saved that preset, we can then do the same for each of the others. So because it only lets you have one preset running at a time. So we load it out, make any changes, re-upload the file, and it'll be saved to the keyboard. Go number 2, make any changes, re-upload to the keyboard. So that's essentially how it works. What I want, preset 1, I've named it Drummer Boy. That name doesn't save to the keyboard. That's just for my reference on the actual computer. I want to use the pads as drum kits specifically. That's what this preset's going to be. So what we need to do, we come in here to our pads, and as you can see, I've already changed some of these to what the defaults usually are. Just a quick note though, if you do actually want to reset it back to the default settings, on this download page, let's jump back to this, you will see on the documents and download setting, factory preset. You can download that, re-upload it to your device, and that will reset it back to factory. We're not going to do that. We're just going to run with what we got. Cool. What I'm probably going to run with in bank 1 is I want to have kick drum here. So that's pad 1. If you're looking on the video, you'll see kick drum there. That's what I want kick drum to be. I want snare drum there. I want open and closed hats to be up here. So that'd be pads 7 and 8. So yeah, pad 1 and 2, that's kick snare. Pad 7, 8 will be open, closed hats. And we might go maybe like a ride on 4 and maybe a crash on 3, and then probably some toms on 5 and 6. Let's go with that. So what we need to do is actually program those to be those specific instruments. Now, the way I've done it is I just know most drum kits in most programs that I've ever used tend to have C1 as a kick drum. So C1 will be our kick. I know that snare is usually either D or E1, different sorts of snares, so like an open or a rim shot snare. I know that D sharp 1 tends to be like a side stick as well, or maybe another rim shot, depends. There's a few different snares, but I'll show you all of that in a minute. So what we do, we're going to stick C1 as the... Oops, sorry about that. C1, that's going to be our note. You can click and drag this up to be whatever you want. So let's come back down. I think you can actually type it in as well from memory, C1 tab. Beautiful. All right, pad 2. We want this one to be our snare. So we want it to be a standard snare. So that will be E1, tab there. What do we want here will be a crash. I'm pretty sure we're going to go with C sharp 1. I'm pretty sure is the crash I want to use on my drum kit. I think the ride, it's either going to be, actually no, that will be C sharp 2. There you go, C sharp 2. I'll show you all this in a minute. All right, so now I've gone through and changed all of these notes to be what I want them to be. So that's the note value. You'll also notice for each of these pads, there's a program change setting number, and there's also, I think it's control change, I believe is CC. Essentially what they do, if you look at the keyboard, there's also these two buttons here. So CC, which we can turn on, that there will then activate this CC number for these pads. So if you press it, it'll send this control change code instead of the note. Or if you press the program change button, it will allow you to activate the program change. Essentially what the program change is, if your software allows your MIDI device to change the instrument or the patching, that's what that would be. So you could have 0 might be nothing, 1 might be your grand piano, program change 2 might be a drum kit, 3 might be a synth lead, 4. So you can jump and change between your different sounds using this device as well. Control change, that's things like if you were to change the resonance or if you had a kick drum sound, you might make it you can program it to be so it's a longer sustain. So instead of being like a doof, it could be a doom. You could have that, so that could change. The CC would then allow you to just make the change instead of changing the dial and just sliding up or down. It'd be bang straight to a setting, which can be very useful. I don't really use that a lot, but it's interesting to know. Then there's also the momentary you'll see at the bottom. If you toggle that, it can be toggle, so it's on or off. So that's up to you. Obviously for drums, we're using momentary. Toggle you might use, I'm not entirely sure how you might use that, that's entirely up to you, but I'm just using the pads as drums. Alright, so that's just bank 1 set. You can do the same with bank 2. I'm not going to do that for now. So what we're going to do now is re-upload this to the device, upload successful. That's it, simple as that. MIDI channel is 1, drum sounds are set. All of this, let's have a quick look before we jump out of it. I'm not going to use the arpeggiator settings any differently to that. I'm happy with all of those settings. Happy with MIDI channel 1. Control change, okay. 0 to 127. I'll give you the crash course really quickly. Control change, if you assign it a channel, so control channel 5, and then it has a value. So 0 could be off if you were changing maybe the resonance, like the sound of like a synth lead, could be like from the wee, those sort of sounds. 0 might be that woo sound, the 127 could be the e. So if you're dialing up or down, it'd be the wee. Yeah. Don't be like, can you say it again? Because you sound ridiculous. But that's essentially what it does. And then you can set these to be channel 1, channel 2, channel 3. One might be a volume, one might be the resonance, one might be sustain, one might be a bit of a wobble speed if you want to hit some dubstep and you want to do it live. So yeah, that's the way those work. I'm going to leave those as they are because in my program, I can actually teach the program to use them as they are. So I'm not going to make any changes there. So down here we have the transposition. You could step it up a semitone or down a semitone or a full octave. That's up to you. I'm just going to use the octave setting. I want it all to be down 1 octave, so it's a little bit lower. Arpeggiator octave can stay at 0. Arpeggiator exclusive, yeah, we're going to leave it on exclusive. If you want to know all of this stuff, it's all in the guide. I'm really just overviewing this so you can set it up for however you want to use it. Upload successful. Beautiful. let's jump over now to Mixcraft, which is my DAW software. Open that up. I'm going to have a quick burp, pardon me. Fantastic. We're going to use virtual instruments. Let this load. Okay, so if we have a look here, you'll see inside of Mixcraft, without giving you the overview, I can choose what instrument this is. At the moment, that's just a grand piano. We'll leave that there. This one here, let's come down and add a drum kit. So let's go with my studio drum kit set. Let that load. And then let's add another virtual instrument track in here. And let's add something like... let's use Messiah. This is cool. This is my synth lead. And done. Okay, so let's have a quick look. We have our piano setting. This is the keyboard. So if I play some piano. As you can see, it's an octave lower. You can see the octave down light is on. That's because that's how it's preset. But I think I explained in the previous videos you can go up and down octaves using these buttons. So to show you, I'm going to go up an octave and then hit the button and restart. So listen to this. Jump up an octave. So that there is now what this one just was. So I'll press it back. That's that note. Jump up an octave. It's now there, so we can keep going higher. And then we can do the same thing coming down again. Beautiful. So we obviously have it set there because I like those low notes, and then we can... because I usually use the pad sound. So that's how that works, and that's in this setting. Now, let's jump down to the Messiah, which is my synth. Cool, so I want to use one of the CC dials to control its cutoff and resonance. So what we're going to do is we're going to come, right click, learn, and we're going to just spin it. Done. Simple as that. There you go, done. So that's how you use the CC dials. Let's set resonance to be the second one. There we go. Now, as you can see, you may notice the modulation wheel is moving as well. That's because that was what this program setting was already set to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and unlearn there. So that's just modulation. Nothing else is changing with the second one, which is good. Let's just get this back to a decent sound. And let's turn off that. Okay, so what other ones do we want? Let's relearn. There we go. So that's essentially how the CC dials work. You can then program them to be different parts of your keyboard. Totally up to you how you want to turn off unison so we can... Now, if you have a look, nothing else is changing again because the presets actually contain the different settings. So, cool. That's how that works. So then you can use that live or you can use it in your recording. That's totally up to you. So then, now let's come to our spacious studio drum kit. This doesn't actually have a set of settings like a setting window. It's built into the program, but it's one of my favorite studio kits that I didn't have to purchase extra. But let's have a listen. There's our kick, that works. There's our snare. Tom 1, not Tom 1, Tom 2. We should be open and close. Cool, and then we should have ride, and it's crash. It's a bell ride, but that's alright. cool. There you go. Because beforehand, the pads weren't set to anything like that. It was like there was a cowbell, and then there was a snare, and then there was some other random stuff. So I couldn't use it like a kit. So that there is how I've programmed it for that. Bank 2 is a good example of all the different snare sounds I've got. So there you go. The other cool thing is you can have the 4 presets in that window. If you hold down your program button like that and jump over to program 2, you're going to have a totally new set of presets. And that has nothing programmed in at the moment. Some on that one. Let's jump over to program 3. Cool. So that allows you to have essentially 4 different lots of 2 banks. So you're going to bank 1, bank 2. So that's, 16 settings. Go to program 2. It's another 16, say 32. Double that. 64 different sounds just by pressing a button. Program 1. That's your first 16. 1 and 2. Program 2. So on and so forth. So there's plenty of different things you can do with the keyboard. I made another video explaining all these other. You may notice all the red writing here. That's to do with the arpeggiators and the different speeds and sounds of that. We're not going to get into that in this video. I think this video is probably long enough, maybe close to 15 minutes. But that there is essentially programming the MPK Mini. Sorry, I didn't mention the CC and control change, but it's all good. That there maybe we'll cover more in another video if we get a chance. But in a nutshell, the way these dials worked, they're sending CC or control change settings, so 0 to 127, so that was the modulation and whatnot. Let's say you wanted the modulation to jump to a specific value. You could program it, so you hit CC, hit a pad, it'll jump that modulation, bang, straight to that setting. So that's interesting, and let's say you wanted to program in these different, like the instruments, you could have it so that program change to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 and so on and so forth. I haven't got that set at the moment, but that gives you an overview of what that does. I hope this video helps. I know it's a bit long-winded, but I did want to try and cover as much of essentially the way you program this. There's obviously so much more you can do with it, but that's in your hands, or ask questions and I will do my best to answer them as I learn as well. But yeah, I'm Buckle. Hope that helps you. Make sure you subscribe. Check out some of my other videos, like, favorite, and all that. Leave in the comments what you liked, what you didn't like, what you want to see more of. Anything musical. I can sort of play a bit of everything. A bit of piano, a bit of drums, a bit of guitar. I'd love to do whatever I can to help you guys out, even with studio ideas or MIDI, maybe trying to do it on a budget, because I've done mine pretty cheap because I don't have a lot of burning money. So hopefully that helps. Like I said, comments, anything you want help with or anything you want to chuck down there or vent. I'm easy. Trolls, try and stay clear of them, but there's always trolls. They just live on the internet. But it's all good. I'm going to go, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.